I'm nearly done now.
No, you don't have to go. You have to wait. You have to come.
You're stopping me from leaving?
Yeah. Wait, hold on.
If I want to leave, I'll leave.
No, you can't leave.
This is
my boss have to come to see you.
Move out my way.
No.
Move out my way, I said. All right.
DJ Audits has been involved in several recent incidents in which he has pushed people. It is assault. I believe the reason he's doing this is that his views have gone down, and so he's more desperate to create dramatic content. We'll start here with a visit he paid to a wool insulation manufacturer in the West Midlands. He's on a road called Canton Lane, which has mixed maintenance responsibility, as you can see. Rather than submit a complex inquiry of the local highways authority, I think we'll just give DJ Audits the benefit of the doubt and proceed on the assumption that he's on the public highway. As has happened before, he thinks it is appropriate to broadcast the telephone number of security at the premises. I think it would be more considerate to blur out that information.
Oh, got security coming now.
I mentioned just now about giving DJ Audits the benefit of the doubt and proceeding on the assumption that he's on the public highway. But bear in mind that he's now actually stood on the premises of a business. So he is trespassing.
Running out like that? What's he doing?
Doing his job. You're stood there filming while wearing a mask and you're trespassing on their premises. What do you expect? A welcome party?
What are you doing?
Oh, sorry. I didn't see you there.
Why are you videoing?
Just a little video.
Why?
Just for YouTube.
Huh?
Just for YouTube.
No. You can't do that. You have to delete it.
Delete it?
Yeah.
Why?
Why should you video?
For YouTube.
Just to be clear on some points. First, the security guard is perfectly entitled to record DJ Audits for the purpose of site security and crime prevention. Second, the security guard is entitled to enforce the company's property rights and demand that DJ Audits cease recording and leave the premises, even if that means only retreating a few yards, as is the case here. Third, the security guard is, however, not entitled to demand that DJ Audits delete his footage, though he is well within his rights to ask that he does so.
Why? Is it the office asked you to come?
No, where's the office?
He's there.
How do you get there?
Come this way.
I don't know. I like to stay outside.
No, you don't need to do it. We don't allow videoing.
Oh, you don't allow video? Where does it say that?
You have to talk to the office before you do that.
Oh, is this somebody now? Come in.
I support what the security guard says there. He is correct that DJ Audits should have sought consent before entering site and proceeding to record. DJ Audits is trespassing at this point.
I can see a little head. I'll just be out here. I don't like to come inside, really.
What DJ Audits may be ignoring is that the company's premises are likely to extend to the road, as you can see here. The property boundary isn't usually the fence and gate itself, and it's unlikely that the short access road that you see here that DJ Audits is stood on is publicly adopted. It's likely to be privately maintained, though admittedly a portion of it will be public highway, that part that is coterminous with the footway, and we'll assume that since, for the sake of brevity, we're adopting the assumption anyway that Canton Lane is a public highway.
Yeah, he was too busy watching something on his phone or on a phone call or whatever.
At this point, DJ Audits has retreated beyond the green line that marks a change in the road surface from concrete to macadam. I believe this also marks where the public highway is, whereas the property boundary is probably the red line. I'll skip ahead a bit.
Oh, it's coming back.
Brother, you have to stop this, man. Hello?
But he is displaying his SIA license. Sorry?
Which company are you?
Nobody. Just a
Yeah, there's someone
person.
here videoing this company, and our company here is saying he's videoing for YouTube.
While the security guard could work on his customer service skills, he is asking the right questions. He is right to ask DJ Audits who he is working for and what he's up to. These are obvious questions, and it is his duty to do that. They are also questions DJ Audits is supposed to provide the answers to of his own accord, without any prompting under the requirements on data controllers in Article 13 of the UK GDPR, because he is now processing personal data by recording this man at his workplace. You would expect someone who calls himself an auditor to have a professional approach and be aware of the legal requirements that affect his chosen activity, especially if he's being paid to do it. To be fair to DJ Audits, he has registered his channel with the ICO, the Information Commissioner's Office. He is only the second auditor I'm aware of who has ever done this. The other one I won't bother naming, as he was a very minor player and doesn't do it anymore, and I think the only reason he was compliant is that he was also a professional photographer or filmmaker of some sort. Anyway, I've posted a link to DJ Audit's ICO registration entry and certificate under previous videos. I won't keep doing that, and I won't do it under this video because it does involve linking to personal information about him, and I'm not trying to encourage harassment of him, and he does have a family. What I will say is that I doubt that his registration is compliant because he is registered in the name of a commercial trading company that ostensibly has no connection to his YouTube channel beyond the commonality of his involvement. Again, as I've said before on this topic, the registered data controller, technically called the data protection fee payer, must be the data controller. This sounds obvious, but in order for a limited company to be the data controller, that company would handle the data pertinent to the channel. Of course, it is possible that that is the case here, but even if he is strictly compliant, I still consider it a disingenuous state of affairs intended to help mask DJ Audits' identity. You'll notice that at all times DJ Audits is very keen to mask his own identity while showing no regard for the privacy and well-being of the people he records.
There's somebody here videoing the company here, the site. No, it's not a security. It's just passing by videoing it. I said, why are you videoing here? He said it's for YouTube. I said, you have to take permission from us before you take any video here. It's with me near the security house now. Okay. Yeah. You have to take permission from here. They don't just come to video. You just put somebody in YouTube for what?
Rockwall, business. Making a video about the business.
No.
I'm behind the security guard 100% so far. Yes, we don't live in some sort of corporatist authoritarian system in which private companies can demand someone's particulars just for recording at the side of a road, nor would I want to see such a terrible situation arise. But DJ Audits is not a genuine and legitimate vlogger. He is there to provoke, bully and harass innocent workers such as this gentleman here, and he is doing it under the pretext of defending public photography. In effect, weaponising our rights and thereby jeopardising them, because rights and liberties have a praxis, a practical basis that relies on goodwill, and if that goodwill is eroded, the rights and liberties that we have in principle become harder and harder to exercise in practice. If DJ Audits was a man of goodwill and wanted to educate this security guard and advance the cause of public photography, he would apologise and explain to this man what he is there for, and that he means him no ill or harm, and he would ask for his cooperation in allowing him to record the building and then be on his way. But DJ Audits is not there for the goodwill of photographers. He doesn't care about your rights and liberties. He only cares about his wallet.
Oh,
Yeah.
you have to inform the company before you do that.
No, don't be silly.
That's not silly at all. You can see that DJ Audits has strayed back onto company property. He is trespassing again. If DJ Audits doesn't want to liaise with the company, he can carry out his recording from the highway rather than from premises owned by the company, and he can show some dignity and consideration towards the company's employees, including this security guard who is only doing his job.
You have to inform the company. You don't just come and do that.
It'll be fine, mate. Don't you worry.
Brother, stop. You stop it.
Why?
You have to take permission.
This is the point when it starts to go wrong for the security guard. Although DJ Audits is a troublemaker, the security guard equally should maintain professionalism in his dealings with troublemakers.
No. Permission to create a video for YouTube. Why?
No.
I do still sympathise with the security guard, even if DJ Audits is no longer on the company's property, no longer trespassing. He has done the following: committed trespass on company premises in that he entered without implied permission and was recording without permission, whether express or implied. He has arguably committed aggravated trespass and maybe a public order offence. He is wearing a mask and concealing his identity. He is not compliant with data protection. He is behaving argumentatively rather than seeking to reassure the company. I do accept that the security guard could improve his own customer service skills. But I think the security guard's actions are correct in law, and it is open to him to use reasonable force. Nevertheless, the security guard should be very careful. I think in this situation it is a case of informing DJ Audits of a position as follows. He should start by saying the following to the auditor: "Thank you for your interest in the company and what we do. This company has a policy that any request to film site should be submitted in writing. I am not in a position to authorise filming. You may of course film from the public highway. In principle, you have the right to do this, but I must inform you that, in my opinion, the manner in which you are conducting this filming is likely to cause harassment, alarm or distress to our staff and visitors. What this means is that if you continue filming and if you fly a drone over these premises, that will be in the face of our objections and there may be consequences. We reserve the right to alert the police, for instance. In any event, you must not at any point interfere or obstruct operations, and you must not attempt to enter site." Then he should take these follow-up steps. First, photograph the auditor. This is permitted under data protection for the purpose of site security and crime prevention. Also capture footage of the auditor's movements if that's causing concern. Inform staff and contractors on site that there is an unauthorised vlogger at the gate and they should not approach this person, and any interaction with this person should be reported. And seek advice on the situation from the police using 101. If the auditor tries anything, then call the police on 999 and report it as offences in progress. The offences to mention are Section 5 public order, harassment and aggravated trespass. And of course log the incident and follow up with the neighbourhood policing team and the force's antisocial behaviour link officer.
Oh,
Why? What's wrong?
they don't do that.
No harm? No harm being done, is there? Come on, man.
Stop, man.
Why you keep coming
Hold on,
towards
my
me
boss
like this?
is coming. When he said okay, that's fine.
How long will he be?
Stop, man. Stop
Come on,
videoing.
give me a minute.
No, I don't have to give you a minute.
This is where I part company with the security guard. He should just withdraw now and observe and report. It's a classic mistake that these security guards make. He should not continue to engage in this situation because it will not achieve anything, and he needs to be careful about any physical contact and only to use reasonable force as needed, either to defend himself or to physically eject DJ Audits from the premises if he is trespassing, though there would be little point in taking that course of action here. He just needs to withdraw now and observe from a distance. I'll skip ahead again.
Where does your land start? Here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where you
all right.
live, so.
I won't come on the concrete, don't worry.
I think where the concrete ends is technically just where the public highway starts rather than the property boundary, as I mentioned earlier. Anyway, the worker and the security guard decide that a manager is needed.
Because I'm trying to make a video, mate, please. Just
No,
move
if
out of the
you
way.
try to make a video, you have to take permission from the company.
He's just maintenance guy, that's all.
Yeah, but you still need permission, mate, from the operations manager.
Yeah, because
you
I'll
can't
call
just-
Gary. Gary is still coming now.
Gary's coming.
Yeah.
There you go, Gary's coming. Let's hope Gary hurries up. Unfortunately, Gary doesn't get there before things go pear-shaped with the security guard.
I'm nearly done now anyway.
No, you're nearly done, but you have to stop it until the managers take you can do it.
I'm nearly done now.
No, you don't have to go. You have to wait. You have to
What,
come.
you're stopping me from leaving?
Yeah. Wait, hold on.
I always try to defend the police and security guards. It's not about liking or disliking either category of people. It's more a recognition that auditors do not approach these situations in good faith or with good intent, and police officers and security guards are only doing their duty. But in some situations, I have to make criticism. I'm reticent about it, but sometimes I have to bring it to the table. A security guard in England and Wales does not have constabulary powers. In other words, a security guard is not a police officer. However, a security guard does have the same powers as any member of the public, including the right to make a warrantless arrest, colloquially termed a citizen's arrest, and security guards do often arrest people. It's not as common now as it used to be, perhaps, especially in retail security, but you will still see SIA licensed security teams arrest people at events, especially outdoor events, and most event security providers have dedicated response teams who have received specialist training in physical and mechanical restraint techniques, and whose job it is to detain troublesome people until the police arrive, in legal terms making citizens' arrests. Citizen's arrest is not strictly speaking the correct legal expression, but we'll use it anyway because it's recognisable. There are two situations where a citizen's arrest may lawfully be made. The relevant law on this is found in, respectively, common law and in Section 24A of the Police and Criminal Evidence Act 1984. The power in common law is to make an arrest to stop or prevent a breach of the peace. In this case, up to now I don't believe there is an actual or potential breach of the peace. There would have to be a possibility of violence. DJ Audits' manner is calm. That does change in a few moments, but what we're assessing are the options available to the security guard at this point in the footage. Turning to Section 24A of the Police and Criminal Evidence Act 1984, what that says is, a person other than a constable may arrest without a warrant A. Anyone who is in the act of committing an indictable offence. B. Anyone whom he has reasonable grounds for suspecting to be committing an indictable offence. Where an indictable offence has been committed, a person other than a constable may arrest without a warrant A. Anyone who is guilty of the offence. B. Anyone whom he has reasonable grounds for suspecting to be guilty of it. But the power of summary arrest conferred by subsection 1 or 2 is exercisable only if A. The person making the arrest has reasonable grounds for believing that for any of the reasons mentioned in subsection 4 it is necessary to arrest the person in question, and B. It appears to the person making the arrest that it is not reasonably practicable for a constable to make it instead. The reasons are to prevent the person in question A. causing physical injury to himself or any other person, B. suffering physical injury, C. causing loss of or damage to property, or D. making off before a constable can assume responsibility for him. You'll see the reference in subsection 1A to an indictable offence. It is a requirement of a citizen's arrest that, for it to be lawful, the offence must be an indictable offence, which is to say, an offence of a serious nature that is triable either only in a Crown Court or either in a Magistrates' Court or Crown Court, as opposed to a more minor offence known as a summary offence that would only be triable in a Magistrates' Court. The way to tell whether an offence is indictable or a summary-only offence is to first look at the relevant statute. It will normally state what the sentence limit is for the offence and give the mode of trial, i.e. whether the offence is indictable or summary. If the offence is triable either way, then the statute will give sentence limits for each mode of trial. If the statute does not mention any sentence limit or mode of trial, then it can be assumed that the offence is indictable. Common law offences such as murder, manslaughter, perverting the course of justice are always indictable. The other point to add is that only police officers, and in certain specific situations also PCSOs, have the power to lawfully detain someone without arresting them. Otherwise, a detention must go hand in hand with an arrest. Taking all this into account, it seems to me that the offences that DJ Audits could be accused of as a result of this incident so far are aggravated trespass and a Section 5 public order offence, and both these offences are summary only. We know this because subsection 68(3) of the Criminal Justice and Public Order Act 1994 tells us that aggravated trespass is a summary only offence, and subsection 5(6) of the Public Order Act 1986 tells us that disorderly behaviour is a summary only offence. That being the case, it seems to me that the security guard cannot make a lawful citizen's arrest under section 24A of the Police and Criminal Evidence Act 1986 and should not be trying to detain DJ Audits. As for the common law right to arrest for breach of the peace, I don't see how a breach of the peace would be resolved by obstructing the departure from the scene of the individual causing it, assuming there was a breach of the peace in the first place, which may be doubtful. That means the security guard is not acting lawfully by obstructing DJ Audits. But is he committing assault? My view is that he is not, because although he is obstructing DJ Audits, he is not blocking him. DJ Audits could simply walk round him to get to where he wants to go. Others may disagree with me though, but even if it is an assault, I doubt the police would take it any further given the surrounding circumstances. My view would be different if the situation was such that the security guard was blocking DJ Audits from exiting the premises or going on his way. It is possible that the security guard committed the common law offence of unlawful detention, also known as false imprisonment. This can happen in the street, and the time period of the detention may be only brief, but the offence may still be committed in those circumstances. But the complainant or claimant must be restrained in some way, or his legal autonomy must be restricted. Partial obstruction or inconvenience is normally insufficient, so I think it hinges on whether DJ Audits was actually detained or held a reasonable belief that he was being detained. I maintain that he didn't. He knew that he could walk away. What he says just now is just for the benefit of the camera and his viewers. In this regard, I would mention the civil case of Burden Jones, which concerns an action for false imprisonment, and in which the court held that being prevented from passing in one direction while free to go the other way was not false imprisonment. We also have to look at section 137 of the Highways Act 1980, which makes it an offence for someone without lawful excuse to obstruct free passage along a highway. It's not clear whether this part of Canton Lane is a highway, whether publicly maintained or private, but if it is a highway of some description, then section 137 would apply. However, I do not think the security guard is committing an offence under section 137. That's because, although he does obstruct DJ Audits, DJ Audits is nevertheless free to pass around him. He can still walk along the highway just by crossing the road. But the security guard does not and cannot obstruct him in the sense of actually physically blocking him. That being said, the situation is still pretty bad. Unfortunately, the situation does get worse.
If I want to leave, I'll leave.
No, you can't leave.
This is
my
your
boss have to
last
come
warning,
to see you.
move out my way.
No.
Move out my way, I said. All right.
That is definitely an assault by DJ Audits, specifically the offence of assault by beating, contrary to section 39 of the Criminal Justice Act 1988.
You don't stop me from moving. Move!
The security guard wasn't actually blocking him. You can see clearly for yourself that DJ Audits could have walked round him, going onto the carriageway if necessary. It was not necessary for DJ Audits to use force because there was no reasonable basis for him to believe that the force was necessary in his own self-defence. I've covered the law on self-defence before in a video about absolute audits. Let's assume that the security guard here was committing an assault by obstructing DJ Audits on the footway. I think that's ridiculous because he wasn't blocking him, but let's assume it. The standard approach of the courts in deciding whether DJ Audits has a legal defence of self-defence is to ask whether, in light of DJ Audits' belief about the situation, the level of force used is reasonable. If we take DJ Audits' belief at face value, then potentially the level of force used was reasonable and it was not an assault, because if the security guard is blocking him from going on his way and has no lawful excuse for doing so, then it is understandable that DJ Audits would first verbally warn him, then push him out of the way. However, in a case like this, the courts will also consider another question, which is whether DJ Audits' professed belief that the security guard was blocking him was reasonable in the first place. If it wasn't, then it cannot have been a genuine belief, and so that would defeat the whole legal defence because the force used would inevitably then not be reasonable. Looked at in isolation, the security guard was clearly wrong to try to detain him. He had no power to do that as there was no suspicion of an indictable offence. But DJ Audits' action in pushing him like that was totally wrong, and we have to remember here the reason DJ Audits is there in the first place, which is to provoke trouble that he can record for his audience. That is how he makes money out of this, and so it is in his interest to perhaps exaggerate situations. In this case, the security guard was obstructing him in an effort to detain him. However, the security guard did not actually block him and did not lay hands on him. DJ Audits could easily have just been on his way and there would have been nothing that the security guard could have done about it. Of course, if the security guard had then followed him up the road, that would be a different matter, but even then it is questionable whether DJ Audits could have lawfully pushed him like that. Also, take into consideration that pushing someone in that way is not a trivial matter. It is very serious and could result in serious injury because it is a type of physical intervention that is not controllable. The person on the receiving end could fall backwards onto the pavement and suffer a head injury. People have died and suffered brain injuries that way just from simple pushing. Admittedly, it is normally drunks who that happens to. But still, it's a point that is taken sufficiently seriously that SIA-accredited training courses always warn, or should always warn, their students that pushing is never an acceptable physical intervention technique.
Come on.
Hey, come.
You want to go some? You actually want to go some? Don't think so, mate. Back to work.
I can understand that in the heat of the moment, people will perhaps behave like that and say, "Do you want to go some?" etc. But the security guard wasn't doing that. The aggression here was entirely from DJ Audits. I do think DJ Audits is out of control.
If I want to leave, I'll leave. You are not stopping me. Understand?
Again, verbal aggression, threatening and demanding tone. The whole situation has to be looked at structurally. DJ Audits is the one who turned up to cause trouble. He is the one who pushed a security guard. The security guard has not laid a finger on him, except perhaps barely momentarily in self-defence. I don't believe that the security guard has dealt with this incident very well, and he does need further training, but the fault for this incident is with DJ Audits. If he does not turn up, there is no incident.
Understand?
You can't leave.
I can't leave. I'm walking away now.
Is it yours?
No? I'm walking away. Bye!
You can see DJ Audits' orange bike there. He clearly has no intention of walking away. This is just more staging by DJ Audits, who wants to draw this incident out for as long as possible so that he has good footage for his viewers.
Bye! Bye! What a clown! You touch that? You want to touch my property?
No, that is yours.
You want to touch my property?
Yeah, that's yours.
See what happens?
Okay.
Another threat from DJ Audits. He calls himself an auditor, remember? His channel name isn't DJ Fug or DJ Yob, and his byline isn't. Watch him sort people out like Auditing Yorkshire does.
No, mate. She won't talk to me. Got a collar number. She could not print my ticket out quick enough.
Yep, that's it. That's the big man. There you go. Nobody messes with the big man in Huddersfield. But people speak differently about DJ Audits. They say he's smart and he knows the law. Some people even say he's calm. Even if I could accept that what he does is strictly on the right side of the law, that hardly commends him if what he does is wrong. It's a naive distinction to make because as soon as you start doing things that are wrong, you are surely well on your way to illegality. I think DJ Audits has crossed the line. He shouldn't be turning up at places and pushing people.
You want to fight me?
What are you going on about?
You pushed me. I said you can't go until my manager's come.
He actually thought he had the right to detain me.
Yeah, you can't. You don't have to go. You have to
get
permission.
Whoa, what's going on?
He's tried to detain me. That's what's going on.
The security guard definitely had no right to detain DJ Audits, and therefore he had no right to attempt to detain him. To that extent, I do agree with DJ Audits. Whether there really was a serious attempt to detain DJ Audits, I doubt that, but I do need to make that clear anyway. The security guard does need further training, and it is actually part of the basic training of an SIA licensed guard to understand the distinction between a summary offence and an indictable offence, and to understand when it is lawful to make an arrest without a warrant and when it isn't. It is not difficult material to grasp. I've seen and read the material that they have to learn, so it is a basic mistake that the security guard has made here. But I'm hoping that the security guard sees this video, and watching this video is his training session and completes the training he needs, so he doesn't make that mistake again. He doesn't need to be sacked. He's not to blame for the incident. DJ Audits is. I still side with the security guard overall, and I do think that DJ Audits has committed an assault. Whether it would go anywhere, bearing in mind the security guard's error, is another matter.
What are you doing, please?
Well, you think that's more important than him trying to detain me?
Well, listen, I'm trying to ascertain what you're trying to do first.
I've told him I'm making a YouTube video about rock wall fire protection products. That's all.
Okay.
You'll need permission off Rockwool if you're going to take...
That's what he said. You're Gareth Leonard, yeah? You must be some sort of high-up man in the company. You believe that somebody outside off your site needs permission from you to take a video?
Well, let me answer that. DJ Audits doesn't need that permission. Again, to that extent, I agree with DJ Audits. But the legal position is not as simple as DJ Audits thinks, because we also have to consider other aspects of the law that impact on his activities. We know why he's there. This point goes to the root of the abuse that auditors are inflicting on our rights and why I oppose auditing. DJ Audits is weaponising photography rights, and if he is allowed to continue doing this, it will end with new laws that restrict street photography, and if that happens, innocent photographers will end up being bullied by poorly trained and ill-informed police officers, and it will be a further erosion of the rights of everybody. This little incident on an obscure industrial estate in the middle of the West Midlands is actually the front line of a battlefield for my rights and your rights, but not in the sense that DJ Audits thinks. He's not on our side. He's not on the side of liberty. He is an enemy of liberty because liberty requires a rule of law and public order. Without law, rights and liberties become a weapon used for the abuse of others.
You really believe that? Because I was shocked that he said it. Now, for you to say it, I think you need to get onto Google.
Okay, but we just trying to...
What about you? Do you think I need permission to do it?
Listen,
no, I'm not listening. I'm asking you a question. Okay, do you think I need...
Okay, I'm asking you a question.
Yeah, go on.
Where were you taking the video?
I'll show you. I've agreed with the guys. I'm not going to go past this line because I believe that's your property, okay? So if I stay out here and don't obstruct any vehicles, I'm going to make a video.
You take it from the pavement.
I was.
Fine.
I was.
Fine. So
he's trying to stop me, and as I'm walking around here, he tries to detain me.
I don't think any of what DJ Audits has just said there is entirely true, and some of it is lies. What has to be understood about DJ Audits is that he is staging incidents. He just said that he was filming from the highway rather than on their premises, but what he omitted to mention is that he was initially stood on the premises, and at different points he went back to the premises, and he was recording the whole time. He claims to have an interest in the business, but he doesn't. His only interest is in causing drama and conflict. He says the security guard tried to detain him. The security guard did obstruct him on the footway, or so it appears from the camera angle DJ Audits gives us, but he wasn't blocking him, and DJ Audits could easily have just walked round him, so whether it was a serious attempt to detain him is a matter of debate. It is definitely wrong of the security guard to believe that he can detain anyone under such circumstances. He can't. DJ Audits is now prolonging the incident by having an argument by the side of a road with these men. I don't see the point of it, but of course, if you're a YouTuber who makes money by winding people up, then there is an obvious point.
What's that all about?
Okay, if you take them from there, but...
I've just told you a serious matter has occurred. What are you going to do about it?
Okay, I'm trying to understand. So, what happened, Chris?
He was here taking pictures, taking videos, and then I came out and said, why are you taking the pictures? Why are you taking videos? He says, for YouTube. I said, did you take permission from the management? He said, no, he doesn't have to take permission. I said, no, you have.
So is he correct or incorrect, what he's just said?
Where you are, right?
He told you where I was, here.
If he's on it, right, two things. This is a public highway here.
Correct.
Right. So if you are endangering product coming in here, whatever, right? You shouldn't be on this area because it's a public highway, yeah? But that's a public highway matter, yeah?
Carry on.
Right? Therefore, if anybody's here and if there's actually traffic moving, you should be not here because of your own health and safety.
You've repeated that, carry on. If there's no traffic around like there wasn't, and I'm here, get to the point.
I would not allow DJ Audits, a man with no official business there, to speak to me like that. I would end the conversation there if it were me. I think the way he speaks to people is appalling, really. I think they should stop this exchange and just go inside. They are not dealing with somebody who can be reasoned with.
Tell him he's wrong.
I'm finding you a bit antagonistic.
I thought you was, yeah.
I agree, he is antagonistic, and it's on purpose.
See, turn it round onto me again. He's done nothing wrong. Model employee.
DJ Audits trying to get this security guard into trouble, which again I think is appalling and a very cruel way to treat somebody. The reality is that DJ Audits turned up and caused the trouble. If anyone watching this is a photographer or vlogger, just consider the damage that this behaviour is doing to the public perception of photographers and vloggers. Every visit these people make and every video these people put out is eroding your rights just that little bit more.
Can I just wait?
Even Gareth was wrong. He thought I needed permission to do it out here. And you're spinning it like, oh, you're health and safety, you're obstructing the business.
If you stand in the middle of the entrance to industrial premises on an access way where there's going to be heavy goods traffic coming in and you're distracted while using a camera, then I think you are acting in a way that is ill-advised. I completely support the health and safety remark. Standing at the gate of industrial premises and making a nuisance of himself is not a new thing for DJ Audits. It's a feature of his modus operandi. Here he is on another audit outside an Every site in Rugby, Warwickshire. I ought to make clear that he is on a private street, so he is trespassing, and I believe it is aggravated trespass as well. And as usual, he's dismissive about health and safety concerns that staff raise with him.
If you move away from here with drivers coming there, like the other side of the fence maybe.
I feel that I'm safe here and I'm off site. Behind a curb, yeah?
We'll
have
a chat with that.
Am I on your site?
It's a curb.
Am I on your site?
Said that, didn't I?
Yeah, so I'm off your site behind a curb. I feel that that's enough.
I'm just making you a suggestion that we've got drivers coming out here. It might be better if you was to go the other side. That was it.
Well, your suggestion about your drivers, that it don't sound like they're very skilled. They can be put off by a drone that high, and you feel that I'm unsafe behind a curb. I see they've knocked a post over. You're not giving much confidence in your drivers. I'm not saying this, you are. Well, I'm trying to portray it as a professional company, say great things. You're giving me negative input to the video.
Drivers coming out of both of these gates that come around.
Do I need a high vis on? Because I've got one.
Well, if you feel safer doing that, I would suggest
recommend you would do that.
What, out here?
Yes.
You're in black, you're in dark clothing.
Yeah, but I'm a member of the public, man. Look at him, he's in black.
It's your choice.
No, I'm saying, are you seriously thinking, are you warning me, if you don't put your high vis on, your life's in danger?
I would say that if you're engaged professionally and call yourself an auditor, and you are on or in the immediate vicinity of the entrance and exit to industrial premises, with lorries and large plank coming and going, I would expect you to be dressed accordingly, which means a high visibility jacket. If nothing else, it's just a professional image, but it's also due to the risks that you are putting yourself and others in by operating a camera in an area where there is heavy goods traffic. Your attention will obviously be distracted while you're operating the camera. Of course, it's private land even where you're stood, so you shouldn't be there anyway. Nevertheless, the staff are primarily concerned for your safety, which is commendable on their part.
It's not a place where somebody would normally stand.
Aircraft will return to the home point in 10 seconds.
Okay. Right, we'll just go and check
I can
it
see
out.
normal people standing around in black. I don't get it, guys.
That's them, it doesn't mean you should be doing the same. And you're a visitor to site, in fact trespassing. I don't understand why you're taking offence at a suggestion that is intended to improve your safety. Anyway, back to the main video we're covering.
I've made sure I've not obstructed the business. I've made sure that if any vehicles come, I'll move out the way. You are? Okay, carry on. I'm going to be quiet now. Carry on.
You're obstructing right now with all this nonsense.
Is he correct or is he incorrect?
If you're on this line, he can, but if traffic comes, you do need to move.
There you go. You got it. Was there any traffic around?
This is where I disagree with that staff member there. I don't think he should do or say anything to encourage DJ Audits' behaviour. It is clearly insane, from a health and safety point of view, for DJ Audits to think it is reasonable to stand in the middle of an access way at the entrance to an industrial site photographing the premises while there are heavy goods vehicles going back and forth, and I'm not entirely convinced he does have the right to do that in law. I think first of all it depends on whether that really is a public highway. and even if it is, depends on how you interpret common law highway rights. It's not quite as bad as PJ Audits, who always seems to launch and land his drone in the middle of a road. At least DJ Audits tends to do that on the pavement or footway.
Oh, you've lost your tongue.
No, you don't.
You've lost your tongue.
Yeah.
That's hardly the point, is it?
You don't need to be like that.
Was there traffic around, was there? It was so busy. I bet there was a blockage, I bet there was a queue. The business couldn't accept deliveries because of me filming. Is that right? What happened?
This may be entertaining for some people in much the way that a clown can be entertaining at the circus. Laurel and Hardy entertain people by acting like a couple of idiots. But an idiot need not be a fool. At the last count, this man had 242,000 subscribers, and he has presumably made a lot of money by acting in this way. Of course, Laurel and Hardy were just an act, and they were actually very funny. DJ Audits, by contrast, actually seems to believe the rubbish he talks, and his activities are not funny. He is doing harm and potentially could do great harm to photography rights and the rights of drone users too.
You don't
See?
need to, sorry.
See what I mean?
That staff member is right, but they need to stop engaging with him and walk away now. They should be reading to him my script, which you can see on the screen, and they should add to it that they object to him standing in the entrance on the ground of health and safety, and he does so at his own risk. Then they should carry out the follow-up steps that you now see on the screen. Once you know it's an auditor, don't engage any further unless the situation requires it. In this situation, DJ Audits has voluntarily ceased his trespass, and while he is causing a potential obstruction at the entrance, and the staff member was wrong to condone that, that's at DJ Audits' own risk.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Chris, you don't need to answer
Back
anymore.
to work. Leave me alone. Back to work. All of you.
Is that why you have to push me? Are you destroy my...
You've just said to me, you are not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I said, this is your warning, move out the way. You said, no, you're not going anywhere. So I had to move you out the way. You're not detaining me, mate.
Notice that the shouting is coming from DJ Audits. The staff are calm.
So hold on, so you did push him then?
Ring the police. Self-defence.
So you just admit that you pushed a member of
Unlawful
staff.
detainment.
You were not unlawfully detained. The security guard said he wanted to detain you, and it was wrong of him to say that, but it's up in the air whether there was any serious attempt to detain you, and you certainly were not actually detained. He wasn't actually blocking you on the footway. You could have easily walked around him, and you know that well enough.
Now, you're not going to like this. You might want to ring the police about this as well. I can't see much from here, so this is going over.
He's very brash and blasé about involving the police, isn't he? I can only speak for myself, but had I just trespassed somewhere and caused a load of hassle and then pushed a security guard, he pushed him at least twice. Even if I thought it was genuine self-defence and the situation wasn't my fault, I would be very careful about involving the police. I think the police are partly to blame for auditing taking off in the way that it has, if I may use a pun bearing in mind he's pulling out his drone. The police on the whole do seem poorly trained in the law and don't seem to have really got a grip on this trend. Most of them seem to regard it as an aggressive type of vlogging, but at the same time, there will come a point when the police don't side with DJ Audits, and he could one day find himself in hot water with the law, and things could get pretty nasty for him.
This has got a camera on it. It's what I'm going to use for my YouTube video. I'm going to launch it from the public highway, nothing to do with you. You protect concrete onwards, okay? So now you know. Do not do that again. Very naughty. Have you got a problem with the drone going over, my friend?
The drone can't go over this property.
Go on, I'm listening.
You can do it on a public highway, you're right. But you can't go over a certain height because you need a licence.
Certain height, carry on.
That's it.
Do you want me to educate you? The drone weighs 249 grams, yeah? So there's no minimum distance to buildings or people. If it's heavier, it has to stay 150 metres from buildings and 50 metres from people. This is made at 249, so there's no minimums. I can get as close as I like, and I can film whatever I like around.
That last point is not correct. Now I will educate DJ Audits on the law relevant to drones. This has been covered before and I will cover it again here. My view on this is that even if DJ Audits does fly his drone from a public highway, which is not certain as we don't know the status of that part of Canton Lane, it still will be a potential aerial trespass and aerial aggravated trespass. This is because of two facts that DJ Audits has just mentioned.
Now, you're not going to like this. You might want to ring the police about this as well. I can't see much from here, So this is going over. This has got a camera on it. The drone weighs 249 grams, yeah? So there's no minimum distance to buildings or people. If it's heavier, it has to stay 150 meters from buildings and 50 meters from people. This is made at 249, so there's no minimums. I can get as close as I like, and I can film whatever I like around.
The problem with what DJ Audits is saying there is that he is ignoring a large area of law that applies to drones. He's relying on the specific regulations applicable to drones and ignoring general law on trespass. Here I will replay for you an explanation given in a previous video I made about DJ Audits. DJ Audits will be flying a surveillance drone. Let's just recap on aerial trespass law. We've done it to death already on this channel, but no harm in going over it again. Since the case of Bernstein and Skyviews and General Limited, landowners are said to control only so much airspace as is necessary for the ordinary use and enjoyment of their land and the structures upon it. Above that, the airspace is regulated by the Civil Aviation Authority and other bodies. It follows from this that any flight by a drone that interferes in the normal everyday use of the premises would be an aerial trespass. Normally, an objection would be raised to an auditor flying over the site. In this case, it's a bit unusual because the manager has not objected as such. However, I would still argue it is an aerial trespass if DJ Audits decides to capture close images of goings-on at the site, especially if his footage potentially identifies individuals, which has happened in the case of some auditors. Of relevance to this is a judgment from the High Court, fairly recent. It was 2023. This was in the case of Anglo International Upholland Limited and Wainwright. The case concerned urban explorers trespassing on an abandoned seminary building that was in a dilapidated and unsafe state. The claimants sought an interim injunction against Mr. Wainwright and persons unknown for, amongst other things, the prohibition of drone trespass over Anglo's site. The claimant's case was that the drones were being used to identify entrances individuals could use to trespass on the site. The court drew attention to Section 76 of the Civil Aviation Act 1982, which provides that no action shall lie in respect of trespass by reason only of the flight of an aircraft over any property at a height above the ground which, having regard to wind, weather and all the circumstances of the case, is reasonable. Since a drone was within the scope of a definition of an aircraft, Section 76 applied. Therefore, the act of flying a drone at a reasonable height over the Anglo site could not constitute trespass. However, the court considered that the only reason to fly drones over the Anglo site was to facilitate and encourage trespass through recording footage, which could potentially endanger life. Alternatively, since drones were being flown low enough to provide clear recordings of the site, the height at which the drone was being flown could not be considered reasonable under Section 76. Accordingly, the court was not prevented from finding trespass by that section, and the injunction was an appropriate and a proportionate remedy. The judgment highlighted the unsafe condition of a building and the risks posed to trespassers, which were crucial in the court's decision to grant the injunction. That case would suggest to me that flying a surveillance drone over a site without consent could be trespass, especially where the recordings captured are clear and could potentially identify individuals or otherwise compromise the privacy or sensitivity of the site. The problem is that, as far as I'm aware, the court has yet to hear a trespass argument involving a drone flying low enough to record clear footage of a property, but high enough to be outside the airspace necessary for the landowner's reasonable use of the property, which is a typical scenario involving auditors. But I suspect the court's view would not be favourable to the auditor, for the reasons I have already outlined. People who go round intentionally trespassing and disrespecting others tend not to have the sympathy of the court, especially when it is a whole reason for their activities. Of course, here it is open to argument that the manager has given tacit consent, therefore implied consent, by not objecting, but any argument for implied consent does rest on two further points, which is that first, DJ Audits must not interfere in the site by his use of the drone, and second, pursuant to Section 76, he must abide by any air navigation order in place. Of particular interest are Articles 265A and 265B of the Air Navigation Order 2016, which make it an offence not to comply with the requirements on open category drone flights in Article 4.1 of the implementing regulations. Article 41D requires that the drone pilot keeps the drone in visual line of sight at all times, so not doing so is not only a breach of the air navigation order, but also a criminal offence. Most of you watching this will know about DJ Audits' flying habits and that, like most auditors, he doesn't always keep his drone within visual line of sight. Any breach of the air navigation order, including breach of a visual line of sight stipulation that is a requirement of the order at one remove, could be interpreted as giving rise to a trespass due to the way that Section 76 of the 1982 Act was worded. We should also bear in mind that the manager does not necessarily know that it will be a surveillance drone or where the footage is going. It's not as if DJ Audits and PJ Audits have complied with Article 13 of the UK GDPR and given him all the relevant information about their recording activities, including who they are and where the footage is going, so the manager is not in a position to give informed consent. It's up in the air to some extent, pun intended, but I would say that DJ Audits is not on safe ground here, or safe in the air for that matter. The point I would add to this now is that by closely recording a site using a surveillance drone and doing so over the objections of staff, this could be interpreted as an interference in activity on site, because if people know they are being closely recorded, it clearly could affect their activities and behaviour, possibly to the detriment of the business. Here's another example of that problem from a different DJ Audits video, and this time from the ground. He's at an engineering company in Gloucester and he's filming through the gate and zooming in on staff and stock. At one point he identifies some of the company's stock arranged on pallets.
We do have lots of raw material down here, look. Nice pieces of metal just down here. As soon as you get past this gate.
He then continued panning around the company's yard, zooming in on things up close so that they could be seen in some detail, and giving a verbal commentary on what he could see, including buildings, stock and facilities. Understandably, the security guard did not take too kindly to him.
No, that's not allowed, mate. I'm sorry.
No, I'm not coming on site.
I don't care, mate. You're not allowed to film, I'm afraid.
I'm only letting you know. I'm not asking for permission.
No, that's okay. You're not allowed, okay?
That's what I'll be doing. I'll be here for half an hour. You might see me on the camera, but I'm just letting you know it's nothing to worry about.
Well, I'm not worried, mate. You're not allowed to film, okay?
Well, that's what I'll be doing, all right?
No, you wouldn't be doing it, mate, because I'll come out to you.
Yeah, I'll see you in a minute. I'll see you in a minute.
You and all.
You may have noticed that there was a camera on that intercom, and in all probability what the security guard would have been confronted with is this: a masked man. I don't like rude and abrupt security guards any more than anyone else, but if we're going to be honest about it, the security guard's reaction is hardly surprising. The in-person interaction wasn't any friendlier.
What are you approaching me like that for?
What are you doing?
Don't get too close to me.
What are you doing?
Making a video for YouTube, I've just told you on the intercom.
YouTube, yeah, but why here?
It's easy to look at this and view the security guard as overzealous, but remember that we know who DJ Audits is, whereas the security guard may not even be aware of auditors. Lots of people aren't. Most people don't live on the internet. DJ Audits was filming the company's premises, equipment and stock while dressed in a mask. The security guard's manner is unfortunate, but the underlying concern is understandable. The security guard did adopt a friendlier manner with DJ Audits when he realised that the recording was going on YouTube, but that's not because he condones DJ Audits' behaviour. You see, this is another problem, that often police officers and security guards and other staff are reluctant to be firm because they know where the recording is going and how they will be portrayed by the auditor on social media. It does interest me that during the video, DJ Audits pays a lot of attention to the security measures at the premises. Of course, I'm not suggesting that DJ Audits will purposefully assist criminal planning to turn the place over, but my question is, was DJ Audits behaving responsibly in this visit? Is dressing in a mask and a hood and turning up at business premises and recording in that way, then broadcasting it on social media, a responsible thing to do? It is intrusive and also potentially could be giving information to criminals who may watch these channels and other more benign social media to gather intelligence on premises that have stock and equipment of value. We'll return now to the West Midlands.
And everything today, what's happened, has been recorded on here. The whole lot goes onto YouTube to show professionalism of the Rockwall staff, professionalism of the SIA licensed security guards, and just how you are.
Well, at least he's telling them what he's going to do with the footage, but he also puts footage on Facebook as well. And in order to comply with Article 13, he also has to give them his identity.
You've been most reasonable, you're wrong, and you, I don't know still why you're wasting your time being here, mate.
I'll just come out, mate. Go on my way around.
You don't need to answer that.
Exactly. They don't have to explain themselves to some random nutter with a camera.
You don't need to answer, but please, guys, the directors will watch this video and they won't like time being wasted, so please get back to work. I've got a video to make.
Look forward to seeing it.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
So will you share that with us?
You'll see it. Somebody will definitely tell you. It's not a small channel.
He's refusing to disclose his own identity, but it's fine to breach the privacy of these people by recording their faces at their workplace and uploading it to a social media platform.
No problem. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Right. Off they go. Who the hell did he think he was? Trying to detain me. And although he knew the score about filming from the public highway, he never did get really to the point about you can't detain people unless it's an indictable offence. There's literally no offence here. And filming from the public highway, just like Google have done, is lawful. Anybody can do it.
It's legal for a normal person to do it who doesn't use a camera to harass and bully staff at a business.
So let's move out of the way. Let's go over here on the pavement so we've got good line of sight and get David up and see what this place looks like from above.
Yes, let's see if he maintains visual line of sight of his drone.
So as always, we've checked on drone assist and there are no flight restrictions in the area at all. Rockwall here at Hams Hall, Birmingham. Let's have a look at you then, shall we?
Take off.
Let's take a look at you, big boy. Let's see what you got in those green tracky bottoms. He flies the drone for a minute or so above the front of the premises and the car park. Then he flies bearing northerly over the main building, and it's at that point that I start to wonder about visual line of sight.
It's like an assault.
You can see where he is. Now let's look at his perspective on the ground from the front aspect of the building. Here's an image from his earlier interaction with the staff. But remember, he is stood across the road, so he does have a wider perspective, which we should take into account. We can see here where he stood, and if you look carefully, his eyes are on the controller rather than the drone. That in itself is not an issue because the legal requirement in Article 4.1 is only that he keep the drone in visual line of sight, not that he actually watches the drone with the naked eye. Obviously the two things are linked, but as long as he has the drone in visual line of sight, he can rely on his viewfinder if he wants to. Here we have his perspective from his position controlling the drone. And just to remind you, this is where he is. I'm not convinced that the drone is being kept in visual line of sight. He's heading to the rear north end of that building. I just want to emphasise that I am not a drone user, so I don't pretend to be an expert, and it may well be that someone who uses drones will correct me and say that it's likely DJ Audits did maintain visual line of sight. We will watch more of the flight and you, the viewer, will have to come to your own conclusion. But my view, albeit as strictly a layman in these matters, is that he does not maintain visual line of sight and he is breaking the law. I would also add a further point that I have made previously on the channel about these sub-250-gram drones. I'm not convinced that this type of drone was intended for this type of usage, and I think that's reflected in the current drone regulations. I think it was envisaged that people would use them for short flights at relatively low height out in rural areas, not for intrusive flying such as this over industrial areas. So even if DJ Audits is maintaining visual line of sight, I don't believe he is, but supposing he isn't breaking the law, even then I still have a criticism concerning the rights and wrongs of his behaviour as a drone pilot.
You know, everybody's got their right to defend theirself. And things like that happen.
The drone is at quite a low height already, it seems to me, and he's using his camera to zoom in. I think this could be trespass and aggravated trespass given the law explained earlier, and I also think that even if it is not an aerial trespass or aggravated trespass, this way of using drones can't be doing any good for the image of amateur drone users and relations between amateur drone users and wider society, especially the business community.
I won't get too close to these pylons, of course. Let's have a little nosy around the back. Clark Transport.
You saw that he went over those pylons but cut that part out. He's pulled the drone up to a decent height now, but a few moments ago it did look like the drone was quite close to the pylons, though lens specification will determine how perspective distortion is affecting our perception of distances in the footage. But unless he's using a wide-angle lens, my belief would be that those pylons were, if anything, closer to the drone than this footage suggests.
Some IBCs. And 2 more tanks there. All that fuss for nothing. Look.
He will have visual line of sight now, probably. He is stood roughly here, give or take a yard or two, maybe 2 or 3 yards to the left. So it seems likely that he can see the drone. I think he flew the drone low down here and did not have visual line of sight along that flight path, then pulled the drone higher to avoid the pylons. DJ Audits then goes into an explanation of the law, as he understands it, to justify assaulting the security guard.
The law allows you to use reasonable force to defend yourself or to prevent an unlawful restriction of your liberty. He was restricting my liberty here.
He wasn't restricting your liberty, except in your imagination. It's an open footway and carriageway. You could have just got your cycle and ridden off, or you could have walked off and retrieved your cycle later.
The force you use must be proportionate to the circumstances. So if pushing someone out the way is the minimum needed to walk away, it's likely to be considered reasonable.
He's reading it, but he hasn't really understood it, has he? I don't know where he's got that document from or whether it is an authoritative source. I doubt it is. It's likely just to be some random website he's brought up in a Google search. But if we take it at face value, the point being made is that pushing somebody out of the way is likely to be considered reasonable if it is the minimum force needed to walk away. Well, let's break this down and consider it. At first, it looks like DJ Audits is being blocked from getting to his cycle, and that may have been the security guard's intention, and he was obstructing DJ Audits in any case. But DJ Audits could still walk around him, and as you'll see from the next clip, the security guard did not stop him from getting to his cycle.
Bye! Bye! What a clown! You touch that? You want to touch my property?
No, that is yours.
You want to touch my property?
Yeah, that's yours.
See what happens?
Okay.
That clip also shows us that DJ Audits didn't walk away for a while to allow the incident to de-escalate. He walked back and escalated the incident further. I accept that he had to protect his bike from being confiscated, but you'll notice that when DJ Audits explained that it was his bike, the security guard accepted this without argument. Then, instead of just riding off on his bike, DJ Audits threatened the security guard even though he knew it was a misunderstanding, and then continued to escalate things rather than leave.
Punching, kicking, or escalating beyond what is needed to escape could be judged as excessive.
Exactly. In fact, we saw you, DJ Audits, push the security guard twice, and throughout the incident, you were antagonistic and at points you were shouting at staff. You had no legitimate purpose to be there. You're not a photographer, you're just a troublemaker. I don't accept that it was lawful for you to push the security guard. I believe that was an assault.
Your aim should be to disengage and leave, and as you saw, I pushed him out of the way and I tried to walk away.
That's not what we saw. You didn't disengage and leave. You escalated it because you want to record confrontation. That is your stock in trade.
I was testing him to see if he would allow me to walk away. How far would he go?
And he did allow you to walk away, and you had the opportunity to retrieve your cycle and leave.
Your intent should not be to fight or punish the person. So I didn't want to punish him there and then. In fact, I did try and encourage his boss to educate him, that was enough punishment, in my eyes.
It's not talking about that though, it's about whether you have a defence for the assault. You pushed him twice and you didn't disengage or leave on your cycle, despite having the opportunity to. You admit you were testing him, you were winding him up.
And document what happened if you think the situation might later be twisted against you. And yes, you heard him. Oh, so you did push him. That's why we wear the body cam. And if somebody unlawfully detains you, you can report it to the police as false imprisonment. It is a criminal offence.
It wasn't false imprisonment. I explained earlier in this video why it wasn't false imprisonment.
But there we go, we just want to make a video. We don't want to be hanging around waiting for police or getting people sacked. We just want lessons to be learned, and photographers and drone flyers not to have to go through experiences like that.
A genuine photographer or drone flyer would rarely go through an experience like that, and it's obvious why. This sort of incident is a frequent experience for DJ Audits, and again, it's obvious why. DJ Audits needs to be reined in, and if he won't stop of his own accord, the law will have to step in and stop him.